Wherever in the world you are watching from this morning, I'm glad you're here. Let me start with something that happens inside you roughly every single second. Right now, quietly, your body is tearing down worn-out cells and building fresh ones, somewhere close to 330 billion of them replaced every day. That constant repair is the real reason some people reach 90 still sharp and steady on their feet, while others slow down decades earlier. And here is what almost no one tells you. Your cells, your blood vessels, your brain, your heart, they don't simply wear out because of the calendar. They wear out because nobody ever told you what to feed the repair crew keeping them alive. Before we go further, a promise I make on every video, I want to be honest from the start. I'm not a doctor, and this channel is no substitute for one. Everything I share comes from the mainstream research on how food shapes healthy aging, offered as general information, never as a personal diagnosis. If you live with diabetes, with chronic kidney disease, or if you take a blood thinner like warfarin, some of what I share today could apply to you very differently. Please follow the exact plan your own doctor gave you. Once a condition is diagnosed, some of this advice flips. So let me give you the number that started my fascination with all of this. Japan is home to more than 90,000 people who have already lived past their 100th birthday. More than 90,000. That is the highest number of centenarians per person of any large nation on Earth, and the country's overall life expectancy sits near 84 to 85 years. Again, the highest for any major population. For decades, the small islands of Okinawa in the south held the densest cluster of 100-year-olds anywhere in the world. Now, when researchers from institutions like the National Institute on Aging study these long-lived communities, they keep coming back to one unglamorous answer. It is not a secret pill. It is not some rare berry flown in from a mountaintop. It is the ordinary, everyday food sitting on the Japanese dinner table. Food so plain and so cheap that most of us walk right past it without a second thought. Today I'm going to walk you through 6 of those foods, counted down from number 6 all the way to number 1. And every single one is backed not by folklore, but by mainstream science, by the kind of guidance you'll find from the National Institutes of Health, the American Heart Association, and the CDC on healthy aging. Here is my one request. Stay with me through all 6, because the food at number 1 is the humblest of them all. It costs almost nothing. It sits in the produce aisle of every grocery store you've ever visited, and it was the daily calorie base of the longest-lived people who have ever lived. You would never guess it, and honestly, when I first learned what it was, I didn't believe it either. Keep it in the back of your mind as we go, because the reveal genuinely surprises most people. Quick question before we begin, and I read the replies, so do tell me. How old are you today, and which quiet little signs of aging have you started to notice? Drop it in the comments below. Now, before we get into the first food, I want to give you something. No charge, no catch. I've taken everything I know about eating for a long, capable life and put it into a small guide called the 90-Year Blueprint. In just a moment, a code is going to appear right here on your screen. When it does, lift your phone and scan it, and the blueprint is yours to download. It is my gift to you, from me to you, for spending this time with me today. All right, let's get into it. Before I name the first food, I want to hand you a simple lens to look through, because it will make everything that follows click into place. Almost all of the damage we call aging comes down to just 2 quiet processes happening inside your body. The first is oxidation. Think of it like rust forming on metal, tiny sparks of damage striking your cells, your DNA, and the delicate lining of your blood vessels day after day. The second is chronic low-grade inflammation, a small internal fire that never quite goes out, smoldering in your arteries, your joints, and even your brain. Rust and fire, that's it. Nearly every food on this list works by doing one of 2 things: dousing that fire or handing your body the tools to slow that rust and repair the damage it leaves behind. So as I walk you through all 6, I want you to listen for those two words again and again: inflammation and oxidation. You'll hear them in the green tea, in the fish, in the humble vegetable waiting at number 1. Same repair system, 6 different keys. Let's start the countdown. Number 6 is something you can hold in a warm cup in the morning: green tea. Now, mechanism first, because that's what matters. Green tea is rich in a family of plant compounds called catechins, and the most studied of them goes by the shorthand EGCG. Remember our 2 words. EGCG is one of the most potent antioxidants in the everyday diet. It steps in front of that slow rust I described, neutralizing the unstable molecules that would otherwise damage your cells and the lining of your blood vessels. That is oxidation quietly slowed 1 cup at a time. Why does that matter for a body that's aging? 2 big reasons. First, your blood vessels. Large reviews gathered by the National Institutes of Health have linked regular green tea drinking with support for healthy blood pressure and healthier arteries. And your arteries are the highways that carry repair to every organ you have. Second, your brain. Population studies out of Japan, following thousands of older adults over many years, have found that those who drank several cups of green tea a day tended to hold on to sharper memory and thinking as they aged. The catechins appear to help protect delicate brain tissue from that same oxidative wear. It's not a magic shield, but over years, those small daily protections add up in a way a single week never could. So how do you actually put this on your table? Aim for 2 to 3 cups a day of real brewed green tea, the kind you steep from a bag or loose leaves, hot or iced. Steer well clear of the sweetened bottled versions lined up at the checkout. The added sugar cancels out much of the benefit you're after. The swap I'd start with is simple. Let 1 honest cup of green tea quietly take the place of 1 soda or 1 sugary blended coffee drink each day. Same ritual, same warmth in your hands, a completely different message sent to your aging cells. Number 5 sits in almost every Japanese meal, so quietly you might not even notice it. Seaweed. Wakame in the miso soup, a sheet of nori around rice, a strip of kombu simmered into the broth. Mechanism first. Seaweed is one of the richest sources of soluble fiber on the planet, and that fiber does something remarkable. It doesn't feed you directly. It feeds the trillions of friendly bacteria living in your gut. Those bacteria ferment the fiber and, in return, produce compounds that calm inflammation across your whole body. Scientists call those compounds short-chain fatty acids, and they are one of the clearest links we have between what you eat and how gently your body ages. Remember our internal fire. A well-fed gut microbiome is one of your strongest tools for keeping that fire turned low. And that matters everywhere, because the health of your gut lining is tied to the health of your heart, your brain, and your immune system as you age. On top of the fiber, seaweed delivers a dense package of minerals: magnesium, calcium, potassium, for almost no calories at all. The American Heart Association points to fiber-rich, mineral-rich, low-calorie foods, exactly like this, as a foundation of an eating pattern that protects the aging heart. Now, one honest caution, because I promised you honesty. Seaweed is very high in iodine, and while your thyroid needs some iodine, too much over time isn't better, so keep your portions modest rather than piling it on. How do you add it? Keep a pack of roasted nori snack sheets in the cupboard in place of chips. Stir a spoonful of dried wakame into a bowl of soup where it unfolds in seconds. That gentle fiber also helps you feel full on fewer calories, which quietly protects a healthy weight. Toss a little into a salad. You don't need a large amount. A small, steady presence a few times a week is exactly how the longest-lived communities have always eaten it. Number 4 is where our internal fire meets its match: small, oily fish, sardines, mackerel, and salmon. Mechanism first, and this one is beautiful in its simplicity. These fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, 2 of which go by the names EPA and DHA. Your body cannot make them on its own. You have to eat them. And once they're inside you, they become the raw material your cells use to build their own natural anti-inflammatory signals. Remember the smoldering fire of chronic inflammation? Omega-3s are among the most direct ways known to turn that fire down. For the aging body, that ripples outward in two directions. Your heart. The American Heart Association specifically recommends eating fish, especially oily fish, at least twice a week because those omega-3s support a steady heartbeat and healthier levels of blood fats. Those are two of the quiet forces that decide whether your heart stays strong into your 80s and 90s. And your brain, DHA, is a primary building block of brain tissue itself, and diets rich in it are linked with better preserved memory and thinking in later life. There's a second quiet win here, too. Every meal built around fish is a meal not built around processed red meat, one of the biggest drivers of inflammation on the modern plate. So here's how to make it real, and it does not require anything fancy. Aim for 2 to 3 servings a week. A humble tin of sardines counts every bit as much as a fresh fillet, often more, because you eat the soft little bones and get calcium along with the omega-3s. If canned fish tastes too salty to you, tip it into a strainer and rinse it under the tap for a few seconds. You'll wash away a good share of the sodium while keeping the fat that matters. Fold it into a salad, onto whole grain toast, or straight from the tin. Small fish, eaten often. That is the pattern the science keeps rewarding. Let's pause for just 10 seconds because we're right at the halfway mark. If these first 3 foods have already given you one idea worth trying, would you do me a small favor? Tap the like button, and if you're new here, subscribe. Every single week, I sit down and turn the best evidence-based research on healthy aging into plain, practical steps you can actually use. No hype, no fear, just food and your own 2 hands. That's the whole promise of this channel. Your subscription is what tells me to keep making these, and it helps another person your age find this too. Thank you. Now on to number 3. Number 3 is 2 foods that share one ancient secret: fermentation. I'm talking about miso and natto, soybeans transformed by friendly microbes over time. Mechanism first. When soybeans ferment, 2 things happen at once. The living cultures act as probiotics, seeding your gut with the same beneficial bacteria we talked about earlier, feeding that internal firefighting system. And the fermentation makes the soy's protein and minerals far easier for an older body to absorb. But natto has a special trick that I want you to understand because it's genuinely one of the most elegant mechanisms in all of nutrition. Natto is the single richest food source of vitamin K2. Now here's why K2 matters. Think of calcium as a building material. K2 is the foreman that tells calcium where to go, steering it into your bones, where it belongs, and away from your arteries, where it hardens the walls and stiffens the very highways your repair system depends on. Bones stronger, arteries softer from one humble food. That is your heart, your skeleton, and your circulation all being quietly protected by the same spoonful. Japan's National Cardiovascular Research and mainstream reviews, collected by the NIH, both point to higher K2 intake alongside more flexible arteries in older adults. Now, the promised safety beat, and please hear this clearly, if you take a blood thinner such as warfarin, vitamin K directly affects how that medication works. Natto and other high K2 foods can throw off your dose. Do not add them without talking to your own doctor first. This is exactly what I meant when I said some advice flips once a condition is diagnosed. For everyone else, here's the how-to. A warm bowl of miso soup is the gentlest place to start. Just go easy on how much you stir in, since miso is salty. And if you're feeling adventurous, natto over rice in the morning is how millions of Japanese elders begin their day. It's an acquired taste, I'll admit, but the elders who eat it swear by it for a reason. Number 2 grows in the dark and does some of its finest work quietly, the shiitake mushroom. Mechanism first, and there are two I want you to hold. The first is a special kind of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. As beta-glucan moves through your digestive tract, it gently binds to cholesterol and carries a portion of it out of the body before it can be absorbed, which is one of the reasons dietary reviews connect beta-glucan foods with healthier cholesterol numbers, and healthier cholesterol means less of that rust and buildup inside your arteries. The second mechanism is about your immune system. Beta-glucans are recognized by your immune cells as a signal to stay alert and well-trained. And a well-trained immune system is one of the quiet dividing lines between people who stay resilient in their later years and people who don't. Shiitake also deliver B vitamins and, when dried in the sun, real vitamin D, the same vitamin your skin makes from sunlight, and one that older bodies very often run low on. The CDC notes that a large share of older adults fall short on vitamin D, so an everyday food that supplies a little is a genuine gift. There's a bonus that I love as a practical matter. Shiitake are packed with umami, that deep, savory flavor. When you cook with them, food simply tastes richer, which means you naturally reach for less salt. And lower salt is one of the single most protective things an aging heart and set of kidneys can ask for. So how do you use them? Fresh shiitake are wonderful sautéed in a little olive oil until golden. But the dried ones are the real secret for most of us. They cost very little. They last for months in the pantry. And a handful dropped into simmering soup or stew rehydrates into something deeply savory. Keep a bag in the cupboard and you'll always have this on hand. Same repair system, 2 more keys, cholesterol and immunity from a single mushroom. And now, the food I asked you to keep in the back of your mind. Number 1 is not exotic. It is not expensive. It is sitting in the produce aisle of every single grocery store, and you have almost certainly walked right past it 1,000 times. Number 1 is the humble sweet potato. Here's what stops people in their tracks. On the island of Okinawa, in the era when it held the densest population of 100-year-olds on Earth, the purple and orange sweet potato was not a side dish. It was the main event. For generations, it made up the largest share of the daily calories eaten by the longest-lived people in recorded history. Let that sink in. The single food they leaned on most was one of the cheapest things a person can buy. Now, the mechanism. Sweet potatoes are colored by carotenoids and anthocyanins, the same pigment compounds that make them orange and purple. And those pigments are potent antioxidants that fight the oxidation, the rust we've come back to again and again. They're also a slow carbohydrate, meaning they release their energy gently instead of spiking your blood sugar. And they're loaded with potassium, the mineral the American Heart Association ties directly to healthy blood pressure. Antioxidants, steady energy, and a calmer set of arteries from a vegetable that costs pocket change. One honest note that ties back to my earlier caution. If you live with diabetes, sweet potato is still a whole, gentle food, but portion size genuinely matters for you. So follow the plan your own doctor set. How to eat it, bake it, or steam it, and leave the skin on, because much of the fiber lives right there. And let it take the place of white bread, white rice, or the refined starchy sides that offer your body so little in return. Swap the empty for the alive. This is the whole point of today. The longest life on record was not built on luxury. It was built on plain, honest food eaten every single day. Now, here's the part I most want you to remember, because it's where all of this comes together. Look back over those 6 foods: green tea, seaweed, small fish, fermented soy, shiitake, and the sweet potato, and notice something. They are not 6 separate remedies, each aimed at one problem. They are 6 different keys turning the same 2 locks. Do you remember the 2 words I asked you to listen for? Inflammation and oxidation. The fire and the rust. Trace them back through the whole list. The catechins in green tea slow the rust. The omega-3s in oily fish douse the fire. The fiber in seaweed and shiitake feeds a gut that quietly puts out fires all over the body. The K2 in natto steers calcium away from your arteries. The pigments in sweet potato mop up the rust one more time. Over and over, the same two mechanisms, approached from 6 gentle angles. Green tea and sweet potato both bring antioxidants. Fish, seaweed, soy, and mushrooms all, in their own way, quiet inflammation. There is deliberate overlap, and that overlap is the safety net. If you miss the fish one week, the tea and the vegetables are still on duty, and that is precisely why no single food is the answer, and why no supplement in a bottle can copy this. The magic in the Japanese table was never one miracle ingredient, it was the pattern. It was the same handful of everyday anti-inflammatory, antioxidant-rich, fiber-rich foods showing up on the plate, meal after meal, year after year, for a lifetime. Each one covers a gap the others miss. Together, they surround your aging repair system with a kind of steady, unglamorous support that no crash diet and no expensive powder has ever matched. Think of your body as a house with a small, tireless maintenance crew. One food hands them better tools, another lowers the temperature so they can work. Another keeps the wiring clean, another protects the foundation. No single delivery rebuilds the house, but all of them, arriving reliably, keep the house standing strong for decades longer than anyone expected. That is the real Japanese secret, not a superfood, a system. And the most encouraging thing about a system is that you don't have to be perfect with any one part of it. You just have to keep showing up a little most days. Perfection was never the price of a long life. Consistency was. Before we finish, I want to be honest about something food cannot do alone. The people of Okinawa didn't only eat well, they lived well, and a few of those habits cost nothing at all. They moved their bodies gently all day, gardening and walking, rather than sitting for hours, then punishing themselves at a gym. They stayed deeply connected to friends and neighbors because loneliness is genuinely as hard on the aging body as an unhealthy meal, and they practiced a simple habit of eating until they were satisfied, not stuffed. The old Okinawan phrase for it means to stop at about 80% full, and it's one of the simplest longevity habits ever recorded. Add those to your plate right alongside the food. Now, 2 simple ways to keep an eye on your own repair system. No clinic, no needles required. First, buy an inexpensive blood pressure cuff, the kind sold at any pharmacy, and check your numbers now and then. Blood pressure is the single clearest window into the health of those arteries we keep talking about. Second, take an ordinary tape measure and record the distance around your waist at the belly button. A waistline creeping upward is one of the earliest, quietest signals of rising inflammation inside, and one you can track for free, at home, month to month. 2 numbers, that's all. Write them down and watch the trend. If either number is drifting the wrong way, that's not a cause for fear, it's simply an early, honest invitation to adjust, while adjusting is still easy. And one last honest word, the one I keep coming back to. Everything I've shared today is general guidance for a healthy, aging body. The moment a real condition enters the picture, the rules can change. Sometimes the very foods I praised become ones you need to limit. So let your own doctor be the final voice. Food is powerful, but it works best as a partner to good medical care, never a replacement for it. I want to leave you with this. Whatever your age today, 60, 70, 80, or beyond, it is never, ever too late for your body to respond to better food. Your repair crew reports for work this morning no matter how many mornings have come before. That is a genuinely hopeful truth, and it's yours. So here is my gentle ask. Think of one person you love who is getting older, a parent, a spouse, a dear old friend who could use a little more energy and a few more good years. Would you share this video with them? Not as a lecture, but as a quiet act of care, the way you'd pass along a warm meal. That one small share might be the nudge that changes how someone you love spends their next decade. And one final time, because it matters most, This has been general guidance for healthy aging, not personal medical advice. I'm not a licensed physician and never claim to be. If you live with diabetes, with chronic kidney disease, or if you take a blood thinner like warfarin, please do not change your diet based on a video. Sit down with your own doctor and follow the exact plan they gave you. Once a condition is diagnosed, some of this advice flips, and your doctor knows your body far better than I ever could. So here's everything in one breath. If that code is on your screen right now, lift your phone and scan it. The 90-year blueprint is my free gift to you. No strings, ever. If this helped you today, subscribe so we can spend next week together on another simple, evidence-based step for a longer, stronger life. And then tell me in the comments, which of the 6 will you try first? The green tea, the fish, or the humble sweet potato? I read every reply and I genuinely can't wait to hear. Take gentle care of that remarkable repair system of yours, and I'll see you in the next one.